Welcome to the final candidate forum for the Capilano Students Union by-election. Today we'll be featuring candidates for Vice President, Equity and Sustainability. Today's forum is moderated by the Capilano Courier. It'll be live tweeted by the Capilano Courier, and the CSU will have videos available on YouTube later today. Summaries and other election coverage can be found at capilanocourier.com as well as on Twitter. Thank you, Freya Emery and Matt Shipley for moderating today. I will pass it on to them.
Alrighty, so thanks, John. Nice to see everybody again. We've prepared questions for all the candidates, but we will also be asking any questions that are submitted by the audience throughout the session. If you do have a question, please submit them in the chat by pressing Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. But please let us know who it is for, so write down the candidate's name. And also, candidates, remember that you can ask any questions for your fellow candidates as well. And also, please keep your answers to less than a minute. We will politely ask you to just finish up and wrap up if you do go over a minute. But yeah, I will now pass it on over to my fellow colleague, Matt, to ask you your first round of questions. So let's bring the first set of, or actually, let's bring everybody up to the stage who is running for the role of the CSU Vice President, Equity and Sustainability role. And we'll just give a minute before everybody gets on here, just before we ask all the questions, just so everybody has a chance to be on the floor.
That's everyone? Okay, perfecto. All right, so do we all know the order? Okay, perfect. All right, so could all of you introduce yourselves, your pronouns if you feel comfortable, and then let us know why you would be a good candidate.
I can go first. Hi everyone, I'm Lohit Goyal and I'm a fourth year business student in Capilano. I'm running for the Vice President of Equity and Sustainability in these by-elections. So I think I'm the best candidate for this position because I have already ran for this position before as well in the elections, and I know what's the position and what's the requirement for this position and how to maintain all what requirements are there to fulfill we have some things that need to be done right now, and those are not I need to there are some points that we need to do work on, and they are not in their positions like the previous candidates. I'm not saying that previous candidates were not good. They were good enough and they have done so many things for our university, but there were some points that they have not been able to cover. That I think I know that, and I will be able to cover that. I am a student ILMP mentor as well, which through which I got so many interactions with students and get to know so many new things, what students think about our university and what they want in these. So I think I can take that experience and make some new things for our university in the sustainability and equity, which can get better position for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, I think is Saksham. Is he here? Is he here? Saksham, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? No.
All right, so same question as before, just name, pronouns if you feel comfortable, and why are you a good candidate?
Well, my name is Aksham Kapoor. That's my full name. I use the pronouns he and him usually. Uh, well, I think that it's a great opportunity for me for my own personal view, as well as introducing some changes to the system that the CSU is working right now. I feel like a lot of people that are in the university, actually the newly admitted ones, they do not even know what's going on with the CSU, and they are not aware of any opportunities. They are not getting equal chance to participate. And I think I would work towards that and bring that for everyone. Also, for the sustainability perspective, the CSU has done a lot. I really appreciate the wardrobe that they are providing, and like providing everyone with the opportunity to share things with each other. But I think that we can go a step further and maybe introduce a proper systematic way to group those items and to provide those to those who need them. Well, all this and the thing that I really like talking to people and being available for them, helping them. So I think that would make a good candidate.
Saksham,
Awesome.
John from the CSU here. Your audio is coming in kind of difficult to hear. Can I encourage you to try to go somewhere a little quieter? We want to make sure we can hear everything you're saying.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thank you so much.
All right, sweet. Our next candidate on the list, I think, is Karina.
Hi, everyone. My name is Karina Ricardo Torres. I am a third-year business administration student with a concentration in marketing and a minor in legal studies. My pronouns are she, her, and this position means a lot to me because as a student from a foreign background, I know how challenging it can be coming into a new education system, a new culture, community. And so I am not only running with the interest of our community's best interest in mind, but also each and every individual student. I would like to ensure that they feel welcome into our wonderful community here at CAP. This school has brought me so many opportunities that I've only ever dreamed of. And so my goal is to give back.
Awesome, thank you. Next up, I believe, is Maya.
Hi everyone, I'm Milo Melino. My pronouns are she, her, they, them. I'm speaking today from the unceded stolen lands of the Tsleil-Waututh Squamish and Musqueam Nations. I've been president of the CSU before. I've also been the Women Students Liaison. I've been on the CSU since 2020. It is something that I really know how to do. I have a lot of experience and a lot of passion about it. I also feel a very huge sense of duty towards my CAPU peers. My whole life, I've been the one that stand up and fight for me and others around me. And the only thing I can think about is that it is my duty to keep doing that at CAPU as well, even though I have done it a few times before. And I keep on doing it. I'm in Senate. I am a member of the CSU board at the moment. So it is something that I keep on doing, and I intend to keep on doing it even if I'm not elected. I think that there are a few things that we can do at CAP, and I'm not going to say they're simple because they're never simple in these cases. There's a lot of conversations involved and a lot of thinking about money, budget, and how to do stuff. But I do believe that we can advocate more for other forms of mental health. They're not just simply having counselors. I think that a few things on CAP could change for accessibility. Some of them involve changing some signage and things like that. It doesn't seem huge, but it could bring better, not I'm gonna say understanding, but it could have like a better impact on people that go to CAP every day. There's a lot of things that we need to keep talking with the university for, making sure that they're going to stop investing on fossil fuels. Sorry, this word is very hard for me. I am also an international student, so English is not my first language. And I already know a lot of people from the executive on the university, and I have a lot of training for lobbying because I've been part of the ABCS for all these years as well, which is our lobbying, provincial lobbying group. So I know how to approach and to talk and how to advocate for those things. There's a lot more that has to be done, but the CSU has a really good annual operating plan that has been approved already for the previous VP that was in this position and all the other executives. And this is something that I will be doing my best to uphold and do my best for all the campaigns and everything that is already set on the CSU operating plan, other than also trying to put forward these ideas that I have that could improve lives of students, both on the equity and on the sustainability side. We need more, it looks ridiculous, but we need more trash cans. We need a way of telling students, international students, where they can find the source.
Sorry,
to.
Maya. Do you mind
Can
if I butt in here? Sorry about that.
Sure.
Just a little reminder that we do need to keep our things a little short. This isn't really, I mean, we've got a lot more questions, right? This isn't, you don't need to put your whole platform out here, but thank you. Thank you very much.
Can I just finish what I was saying?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I said things like, we need to help people to find resources for what they need. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe now that Caitlin has been promoted to panelist, you are up next.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Caitlin Liu, and sorry I was late. I had an appointment, and so I just got out of it right now. Hi, this is my first year at CAPU, and yeah, I'm running for Vice President of Equity and Sustainability.
Did you hear the question, or were you late for that?
No, I was late
sweet.
for that too, sorry.
Basically, I'm just asking for you to introduce yourself, give us your name, your pronouns if you're comfortable, and then why you'd be a good candidate for this position.
Oh, yeah, I go by the pronouns she and her. As I mentioned, this is my first year at CAP, and I have a lot to learn about CAP and about student unions, but I believe that I can bring a new insight to the CSU regarding sustainability and equity. And I also would like to advocate for the student in need, amplify their voices, and to become a friend that the students who are in need, international students, domestic students, to reach out for help when they need to, because I understand that connecting straight by yourself to counseling may be a little bit intimidating, and it might be hard if you're an international student. So yeah.
Okay, thanks very much. All right, next up, and I believe last up is Shahab. I'm sorry if I butcher anyone's name, by the way.
That is perfectly okay. Hello, everyone. My name is, sorry, my voice is a bit raspy. Sheba Mohdan. I'm a first-year student here at Capilano in the Business Administration program. And I believe that I would be a great candidate here because I am on a mission. And that mission is to make the lives of everyone I meet at least a little better. I've already been here for 4 weeks, and I've managed to start my own club, and I've managed to interact with many of the faculty, staff, and even students to kind of get to know what their issues are and what more they would like to see. Personally, equity is extremely important to me because, and especially in the category of mental health, because as a person who's been through a lot of trauma, I can completely understand and sympathize that people not only need a place where they can share their own problems and feel like they are heard, but also truly get the help that they deserve. So from the sustainability aspect as well, I'm also really interested in that, and I've done multiple environmental campaigns back in Dubai in my old high school, and they've all been extremely successful. So I hope to bring some of that knowledge and experience here as well into CAP to try and benefit as many people as possible.
Sweet, thank you very much. And I will hand it over to Freya. If there's nobody else on the panel that I wasn't aware of, I will hand it over to Freya for the next round of questions. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Let me just see, there is a question over here right now that I'll just ask after our set of questions. Yeah, just noting that. I also just want to give a reminder to our candidates just to try and keep things to about a minute. I know it can be a little bit more difficult, but we do have a long list of questions for you to be answering. So don't worry if your message isn't answered quite yet on that one question, but we do have lots. And also just a reminder to the audience, if you do have any questions, I saw that there was one, but if you do have any questions for the candidates, feel free to type them in the chat. So now to our second question, in which I will ask Skashem, if you're here, I will ask you the next question, which is how will you support students with disabilities during the COVID-19 recovery? I believe.
Hello.
Hi. Did you hear the question?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Actually, the Wi-Fi is kind of tricky here. Yeah.
Yep.
So, talking about that, well, after COVID, there was a lot of restrictions on what to touch and what not to touch. And I think that if we can provide them with ways to access things without the need of touch, such as sensors, that we are already using at the university, we can help them get to places. Also, well, after the COVID is going down, I think that the classes have started, and the disabled students who were kind of getting advantage from the online classes and all, because they were at their home and were able to attend more classes without being restricted by moving from one place to another. Maybe we can arrange classes from them for them at a separate location and provide them with better ways to reach the classes and the resources as well.
Awesome, that sounds great. Now on to Karina. If you're there, I will ask you the same question. I'll just get her time. Yeah. So same question, how will you support students with disabilities during the COVID-19 recovery?
Yeah, so I would really like to get possibly a support group going so that they can share their thoughts and their challenges and what they would like to just get from them, what they would like to see happen in the school. Also, I'd like to advocate for more online classes, not just for students with disabilities, but also for students dealing with full-time jobs or possibly have a really long commute to campus. I know that's the case for me. I have opted for online courses and unfortunately found there was a lack in what I wanted to take and everything. So yeah, just hear from them and help them the best that I can, go from there.
All right. And now for Maya, it's your turn. Same question, how will you support students with disabilities during the COVID-19 recovery?
Yeah, so COVID has been terrible, I think, for most of us. In my country, only I'm from Brazil, so the thing was very traumatic. So I think one of the things that I would like to keep seeing, like we saw a little bit, but I would like to keep seeing is like support for people that have been through this in the mental health department, because right now in a lot of places, people are dealing with COVID as if it never happened, and if it was gone and never going to come back, and it's not really true. We might have a pandemic at any other time. We've been advocating for online classes. We started that during COVID when I was president, and this is something that I want to keep doing for more online sessions that we could have for students, because we know that yes, that helps students with any kind of disability. It's better for them. I also think that not letting the whole the precautions that we had for COVID die, it's good. So if people want to keep coming with masks and want to keep using them, we need to respect that and need to make everyone aware that we respect that and keep having all the other measures like with hygiene and things like that throughout campus to make people feel a little bit safer to be there when they cannot be on this online environment that we still need a little bit more advocacy on. And we've been trying, even in Senate and things like that, we've been trying to talk about it. So it is something that I will definitely push forward because we definitely need it. It's not the only thing, mental health support, it's also very important. And I think there are a lot of things that we can do. They're not going to be easy, but there are things that we can push forward with a lot of advocacy and conversations with the university.
All right, sounds good. And now on to Caitlin. Is Caitlin still here?
Yes.
Hello. All right, so same question for you. How will you support students with disabilities during the COVID-19 recovery?
Yeah, COVID-19 hit pretty hard for everyone. And from what I've learned the last few weeks on campus is that the students is actually the one who knows what's best for them. And so I would love to learn from what they want to change and go from there. And yeah, also going for more online classes, more accessibility kind of point view for accessible parts of the school for everyone. Yeah.
Awesome. And last but not least, Shab. Same question for you. So how will you support students with disabilities during the COVID-19 recovery?
So COVID was a hard time for everyone, right? Online classes were extremely tough for people to focus in, even people without disabilities. So what I really want to do to try and help as many students as possible in that regard is to try and streamline this communication system between faculty, professors, and students to make sure the students benefit the most out of that. Because for students with disabilities, class may already be very hard for them to focus on, and online only that makes that worse. But aside from that, I also want to try and have like a little group together to kind of try and discuss the impact of what COVID had, because COVID has taken a lot of jobs and a lot of students may be paying for this by themselves, or they may have their parents pay for them. So from a financial point of view, it is quite tough as well. So just making sure that everyone has like the right mental outlook on that could help as well.
Awesome. That is the last set of questions I have. Now on to Matt for the next one.
All right. Now, I'm going to ask everybody, if you could accomplish one thing only during your term, what would it be, and who in the university would you need to build a relationship with to get it done? We will start with Karina.
My main goal is, well, I have a lot of goals, but the one thing that I would really like to see incorporated into Capilano's programs is the Recycled Fashion Club. I'm currently working on founding that. I feel that it's not my main focus. However, I do feel that it could have a great impact on the school. So I was thinking about inviting people to bring in their old clothing, and you could have it recycled into new pieces of clothing. I was thinking even creating notebooks out of wasted paper, just so many fun projects that would also help fight fast fashion and be a great opportunity for students to get more involved on campus and to meet people. So that will be my answer. Thank you.
Thanks. That was great. Maya next.
Thanks. Of the many things I want to do, if I could only do one, it would be to make sure that the equity, it's not equity actually, the name, but the audit that we are having right now at CapU to make sure that the university has it's in the right way for equity stuff. And I forgot that there's an acronym for that, but my mind today is not the best. But it would make sure that that is actually done and that the recommendations by the company that's doing that audit are actually applied, because we need that at CAP. And the person to have relations for this would be the VP that deals with equity, EDI actually at CAP. I already know him, and that would be the person to like straight relationship with, and the president as well, to make sure that those the recommendations from that audit are actually applied, and we have like a better EDI environment at CAP.
Awesome, thank you. I believe we have Caitlin next, and just to reiterate the question, if you could do one thing during your term, what would it be, and who would you contact to get it done?
Yeah, so the one thing that I've thought of looking around campus is to put compost bin around campus. We do have a lot in the cafeteria. There's a lot of stores that you can buy food from, and even in the library, there's a cafe there. But what I found around campus is we don't have a compost bin, and all the food trash, like the food leftovers, are all put into one bin with the landfill. I find that a little bit wasteful in terms of if we can have a compost bin and be able to connect with the CSU. I know that CSU has a gardening plan, so if we could kind of use those leftover as dirt and nutrition for the plants, that would be a great way to kind of not waste the leftovers and also keep the school a little bit cleaner. Yeah, that's my main goal right now.
Wonderful, thanks, Caitlin. Next up is Shahab. And
Okay, so
again, just to reiterate the question, sorry. If you could do one thing in your term, what would it be, and who would you contact to get it done?
okay, so if I can only do one thing and one thing alone, I want to try and not only advocate for the resources, for the mental health resources that are already available, such as the counselors and the sexual violence anonymous portal, but I also really want to try and build on that by trying to have free, easy to access resources for everyone who's suffering from trauma, because I believe that no type of trauma is more important or significant than another type. So that's going to come in a variety of different forms. It's primarily going to come through my own club, the Gentlemen's Self-Improvement Club, which is supposed to be a safe space for people who identify as male to kind of come together and talk about their problems and really try to grow together as people. And that club will eventually be open to everyone, right? And it's also going to come through a variety of different free articles about mindfulness, because mindfulness can actually help reduce anxiety. And it's also going to come, I also really want to try and have external therapists as well. I know we have counselors, but I also want to have therapists in there. And in order to accomplish this, I'm going to not only be talking to Nuo, the director of programs at the CSU, I'm also going to be talking to the VP of finance and the VP of events to try and organize and orchestrate as many events as possible to raise awareness for these resources and for the club, and to kind of just try and see if we actually have the finances to do all of that as well.
Wonderful, thank you. On to Lohit, if you are here.
I don't believe he's on the call, so now we can move on to Skasham.
Hi, so talking about that, I think that the thing that I would like to accomplish in my term is to create the campus community and form it into a family kind of structure, so that we actually care about everything that is going around us. We actually care about everything that is provided to us, and we build this community so that we can sustain it and provide it to others who are also on campus. I think that there is a mismatch between the communication that is happening in the campus community. A lot of domestic students and the international students, they all stay in separated groups. And I want to see them together, making friends with each other, knowing each other, and actually having a whole experience of the university life and not just being in separate groups. And maybe to achieve this goal, I can have the instructors, because they are the only people on campus who interact with every student, who are responsible for them, and they have the direct instruction to them. And if they can promote this, we can achieve this goal.
Wonderful. Thank you. I believe that's everyone for this round of questions. So I will send it off to Freya for the next.
All right. So now for the next question for everybody. What would be your main goal in regards to the 2022/2023 budget? I will call on Maya first to answer it.
Sorry, can you repeat the question? My phone is a little bit weird.
No worries. What would be your main goal in regards to the 2022/2023 budget?
I do know that the budget is approved already, so it would be a matter of where to allocate that. I think campaigns are a good way of using some of the money because, for example, we have some campaigns already aligned, and I think some of them are crucial for students. The student rights campaign is one of them. For allocation of budgets, I would also like to use a part of it to create some events monthly where we can try to bring students together for some different niches to talk about what they think that could be done. That's a little bit harder. We tried a few times with different how can I say this in different formats. So it is something that we need like to think and adjust. And I think part of the budget could also be used for and this is going to sound weird, but I do think that we need part of the budget for having groups, focus groups where we can talk to students and see what they need. We've been doing that a lot on the CSU, and it's a good way, although sometimes hard to reach the students. It's a good way of understanding what they need right now regarding determined specific point. So I think that's a good use of the money. Of course, it's not like a huge chunk, but it would be like a good chunk. I don't remember exactly how much money we have allocated for this position right now, and this is something that everyone can find on the CSU papers and stuff. But I think those are things that I would like to focus on.
All right, sounds great. And now over to Caitlin with the same question, which I will ask one more time. How will you support students with this? Oh, sorry, that was one that we already asked. What would be your main goal in regards to the 2022/2023 budget?
Well, yeah, I think the most important thing is trying to make sure that those budget and those money are allocated to kind of the place that need it. Also, that as an international student, I understand that scholarship for international students are so much more limited than domestic students, because the people that sponsor these scholarships specifically specify that they want their money to go towards domestic students. And I understand that, but as an international student, I find that very unfair, because we're here to find a better education, and it is honestly quite expensive here to live as well as to study here. So if we could be able to help the international students have a opportunity to kind of seek education and afford education, that would be amazing. Yeah.
Awesome. That sounds so good. All right. So now over to Shahab. Same question. I can ask it again if you'd like.
Wait.
Yeah, so what would your main goal be in regards to the 2022/2023 budget?
Well, with the budget, I kind of want to try and split it in three different ways, right? The first part is related to equity. I want to have a lot of, events related to mental health, a lot of mental health awareness days. And I also want to try and get guest speakers in to talk about things like mindfulness and, just how to reduce anxiety and stress. And since university students, we have a lot of that. For the second bit, for the sustainability bit, I want to try and replace all plastic cutlery with wooden cutlery because it's more biodegradable, both in campus and even on res. And for the third bit, I actually want to focus that completely on international students as well, because as an international student, we have to pay a lot. We have to pay a lot of money, and we don't exactly get the same support that domestic students do. There's a lot of domestic scholarships, and I've spoken to some of the professors, and some of the professors even told me that some of the donors don't think we are as qualified for some of these scholarships as some domestic students, which I think is completely unfair, by the way. So that is definitely something that I would like to address, and something that I would really try and work on with some of the budget that we have.
All right. And now on to Skachan, if he's here. It's the same question. So what would your main goal be in regards to the 2022/2023 budget?
Oh, well, as I've read the last budget, a lot of expenses being done on the travel expenses of the board, the CSU board members, and the office supplies for CSU. I would like to reallocate that to supporting students who are in need, providing them with the food, who are facing food insecurity. I think that the CSU board members can use public transit as provided under the UPass BC program, instead of spending that money onto the travel. And the office supplies maybe turning into a more sustainable way of managing documents, reducing use of paper, pens and other office supplies, and going for digital documents is a good way to go.
All right. And last but not least, Karina, same question to you. What would your main goal be in regards to the 2022/2023 budget?
So I think student engagement is very important. I've spoken to a lot of students, and primarily international students, who don't yet necessarily feel comfortable enough to call the school their home. And so I think it would be very important to me to, first of all, fund clubs to engage student interactions. And also I would like to host some events for sure, but also focus on campus well-being and support. So as my colleague mentioned, therapists and all sorts of mental health resources, just to be able to create a sense of community even more than already exists, just in everyone's mind.
All right, sounds great. I believe that was everybody for that round of questions. I'll now move it on to Matt to ask the next one.
All right, thanks, Freya. So international students have been hit pretty hard during the pandemic. What would you lobby governments for in regard to international student support? We will start with Caitlin.
Hello. Sorry, can you repeat the question again, please?
So international students have been hit hard by the pandemic. What would you lobby governments for in regard to international student support in the wake of the pandemic?
Okay. So the past 2 years, during the height of the pandemic, I was living on Vancouver Island, and yeah, I've connected with a lot of international students at my high school, and I find that the support for international students are not as efficient as it could have been. A lot of it is the visa and the passport, and so I want to create some events and kind of push forward to help international students with their official documents and help them to have a better life in Canada with the pandemic, like recovering, how their mental health is during the COVID and how it has kind of moving here during the pandemic has been for them, and yeah, trying to relieve those stress.
Thank you. On to Shahab. What would you lobby governments for in terms of international student support?
So for international students who are far away from home, like myself, it's actually quite a challenge because in a lot of the cases you feel like you're on your own. You don't have your family's support. So we need to find a way to lobby that. So my suggestion and what I'm going to be doing most is I'm going to try and have different tiny unions for different groups of international students. So they really feel like they have a group to kind of fall back on. Because like I've spoken to some of the students, for example, there's not a lot of like Asian representation, for example, and as an Arab male, I don't even know if there are other Arab students here. I have not met a single one. So I kind of want to have like little groups, so people, like little recognizable groups with leaders, so people can actually know who to go to if they would have problems related to their, to where they're from. On top of that, for like, although COVID is not much of a problem anymore here, it's still a huge problem in a lot of places in the world, and a lot of people are not going to be able to go home, for example, for Christmas, and maybe even for spring breaks or summers. So I kind of want to try and have, like little study, like little groups to kind of discuss this, so everyone doesn't really feel like they're on their own in this case. Make sense?
Yes. Thank you, Shahab. On to Saksham. Same question. What would you lobby governments for in terms of international student support?
Well, to support the international students, I guess it is very necessary for the governments to provide students with affordable housing. It is a hard job to find a good home in cities like Vancouver and other major cities. The prices can go really high, and you need to provide proofs and securities and 2 months rent and everything to just start living there, and plus the extra expenses that you have there. So maybe the governments can make this process really easy by providing some kind of identification to the international students. Along with that, scholarship programs for students who come from other countries, because there are not a lot of scholarship programs that are provided here. I would like to see that, and we can lobby for that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Saksham. On to Karina. Again, same question. What would you lobby governments for in terms of international student support in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, so I feel like I was kind of building you guys up for that one, because as previously mentioned, I have spoken to a lot of international students that don't feel that they can engage in their campus as freely. And so I would really like to create, currently I am in the process of founding the CAPLA, which is the Capilano Latin Association for Hispanic students. I also would like to see more jobs created on campus so that we can support international students who cannot work full time, as well as events. I was thinking about an international Christmas where everybody could bring their ethnic diversities into an event that you can showcase your cultures, and yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. On to Maya.
Thank you. I think that everyone's ideas are pretty cool. They are, however, very campus centered. As for lobbying with the government, I think one of the things that we could do, and some of them we already do at the ABCS, which is the lobbying group, the provincial lobbying group that the CSU is part of, and I'm also part of, is affordable housing. It is something that we've been advocating for, and it's something that we can keep and should keep advocating for, because yes, international students are way more impacted by the housing crisis than domestic students. Another thing is about capping, or at least regularizing the international students tuition, because right now, for example, at CAP has like this kind of agreement that is not on paper or anything, but CAP does not increase the international student tuition over than 2%. This was like a campaign from the CSU, and it's something that has been happening already. But that happens only at CAP and not in other universities necessarily. And it is something that, like, governmentally wise, like in lobbying with the government, it's something that we ask for, because honestly, Canada in general has to stop seeing international students as walking pig bags. We saw that this model does not work during the pandemic, when we saw a bunch of universities going like, well, what do we do now that we don't have enough international students to pay for our things? So we need to stop relying on the international student money for everything inside the universities and the post-secondary system in Canada. So what I would love for with the government would be for regularizing, like putting a regulation or a policy on international student tuitions, so universities couldn't do like, well, this semester I want to increase this in 15% because I can. So this is definitely something that I would government-wise lobby a lot.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Maya. I think that's everybody for the questions, so I will send it off to Freya for the next segment.
All right, sounds good. So for our next segment, we have, has the CSU done enough to address Indigenous students' concerns on campus? Why or why not? And if not, what would you tangibly do to improve this if elected? So up first, I have Shahab. I can answer the, sorry, I can repeat myself if you want to.
Please, that would be great.
Yeah, no worries. So has the CSU done enough to address Indigenous student concerns on campus? Why not? And if not, why would you tangibly, what would you tangibly do to improve this if elected?
I feel like while CSU has done some things to kind of, I feel like while the CSU has done things to kind of raise awareness to the Indigenous students, more can be done to support the Indigenous community as a whole rather than just the students. Because in a lot of cases, we have a lot of land acknowledgements, but I feel like we don't actually do much to support these communities outside. So I feel like the CSU could kind of come up with a way to try and promote both the inside students and the communities that they represent as well. And that way, the entire Indigenous community may benefit.
All right, sounds good. Now on to Saksham, if he's here still. Same question.
Yes.
Yeah, so has the CSU done enough to address Indigenous student concerns on campus? Why are we not? And if not, what would you tangibly do to improve this if elected?
Well, to say the least, I came here this year, and looking at everything that the university has already set up, I kind of got to know about the Indigenous communities much more than I knew before. And I think the CSU is working a really good way towards that and providing support for Indigenous students. Well, yes, everything needs requirements, everything needs to be improved now and then. And I think we can carry out the work that CSU has already done and make it better every day.
All right, sounds good. And now up next we have Karina. Same question. So has the CSU done enough to address Indigenous student concerns on campus? Why or why not? And if not, what would you do tangibly to improve this if elected?
So I do love seeing all the CSU's effort. I think it is a big step in the right direction. However, I don't think it is even close to ever being enough, even by the government in general. I would like to see more of the budget go towards helping Indigenous students and resources for them. So again, my idea for international Christmas could also could also engage students with Indigenous backgrounds to showcase their culture, and more events like those. Also scholarships, maybe if the budget permits, reduction on some of the campus facilities, and yeah.
Awesome, sounds great. And now on to Maya. Same question. So has the CSU done enough to address Indigenous student concerns on campus? Why or why not? And if not, what would you do tangibly to improve this if elected?
The CSU has been working a lot on that, and I recognize that, and I recognize the work of all the staff and student leaders that have been working on it, but nothing that comes from a colonial structure will ever be enough. So this is something that we have to keep in mind. I don't think it's enough. I don't think it will ever be enough. But if I could improve a few things, it would be keep on working on our relationship with the host nations from campus and with the Creative American Center and the Indigenous representatives. We have someone on the CSU that right now works only for that, a staff person that works only for that, that started, I believe, last year. Someone focusing just on that, that is Donna. So I think that those relationships could be strengthened. And I also think that we always have to keep in mind that we can't think about like, well, let's do this and that for the Indigenous community. We need to know what the Indigenous community wants and what they want from us. We can't have that colonial view of like, well, let's do that because we think it's good for them. We need to just be open to listen and to know what they want and what we can do for them. And if that is just take a step back, then we take a step back. But it needs to come from them. We need to show them that we are here and we are ready to work together and to do what needs to be done. But we also need to give them they have to have the agency. That's what I've been trying to say. They are the ones that decide.
All right, sounds good. And last but not least, Caitlin. Same question. So has the CSU done enough to address Indigenous student concerns on campus? Why or why not? And if not, what would you tangibly do to improve this if elected?
Yeah, so I honestly, during the month that I've been here, I do see CSU promoting Indigenous people's concern, as well as stand up for them. However, I do feel like with climate change, the last time I got invited to a public event, that a First Nation actually spoken here on campus about their old way of living and how that could help improve climate change right now. It was very influential, but not a lot of students have attended it. And if I get elected, I would love to amplify their voices, as well as kind of raising awareness of the existing kind of racist aspect and reactions towards Indigenous people. Yeah.
All right, sounds great. And I have one last question for everybody. This is your time for your closing statement. Let's keep this as short as we can. So roughly a minute long, since we only have so little time left. So this is the big question. Why should students vote for you? So up first we have Saksham. Yeah, it's a big question. Try and keep it as minimum as possible, but the floor is yours.
Well, I want to see change and I want to be the driving force behind it. I want to bring that change and I want to make it possible. So if you believe in me, I'll be there for you. I'll take out time for you. And I think that I will bring the change.
All right, sounds great.
Thank you.
Yeah. And now on to Karina. Same question. It's time for your closing statement. So why should students vote for you?
So I don't believe that in any political campaign or election you are voting for an individual. You are voting for what you believe your campus, your community should look like. and I listened to all of my peers on campus. I listened to some of the candidates on Tuesday as well about their concerns and how they would like to see the campus function. I know the queer community would like more opportunities to be open. The accounting department was saying how they want more networking events. And so a vote for me is a guarantee that our school will continue on its path of inclusivity and social responsibility and social awareness.
All right, sounds great. And now Maya, your turn. So time for your closing statement. Why should students vote for you?
Is that me?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. The
All
phone
good.
is very good. Students should vote for me, well, if they want to, because I have a lot of experience. I know the CSU inside out. I know that some things that were proposed here are very interesting, but there are also things that we already have at the CSU, things that were proposed by my colleagues here. There are also a few things that people usually propose that involve like changing budgets in a way that I know that the CSU structure does not allow. Because things are structured in a way for budgets to be allocated to where they need to go. And yes, you can change a little bit, but there are limitations to that because we have to think about staff and all those things. And this is the experience that I got when I was president. So I think I have a lot of experience. I also have a lot of passion and a huge sense of duty toward my colleagues. And I also think that whomever you vote for, you should vote, because voting is extremely important. Democracy is something that a lot of people died for in a lot of places. So it is something that we need to cherish. And also remember that as a student, you're literally paying everyone's salaries. So at the CSU, like those are your student fees. So think about that when you vote. Think about how that actually, although you might not like politics or anything, think about that as something that will affect your daily lives. So yeah, I think that I have a lot to offer still, although I had already offered a lot of things, and I was still gonna keep doing that in Senate and everywhere. But yeah, I think that's the reason why I should be a good choice for this. And again, please, please, please vote. Voting is so important.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And now time for Caitlin. Now it's time for your closing statement. So the big question, why should students vote for you?
Hi, okay. I understand that I don't have a lot of experience with the school because it's only my first year, but I am eager to learn and eager to help the students throughout the struggle, their times here. And yeah, I want to become a friend where students can reach out for help when they need to, reach out for ideas when they have it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, thank you so much. And last but not least, Shahab, it is your turn for your closing statement. So why should students vote for you?
I hope that students consider supporting me on this journey because I want to inspire and I want to help, but more importantly, I want to serve. I have an entire list of things on my phone that I wish to accomplish once I become vice president, and I hope to, extend that list, and I still am extending that list because I keep going around speaking to everyone about their problems. And please, if anyone has anything to ask or anything to kind of suggest, please, because I want to be your voice. This is not about me, it's more about you guys, and I simply just want to make sure that we can have the best CapU community and the best CapU experience that we possibly can. So with that being said, I hope that you consider voting for me. And as always, walk towards progress, walk with Shihab.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That is all the questions that the courier has for our candidates. There is one Q&A question that I will ask to the candidates. If they would like to answer, you can unmute. Which is, the question is for our VP Equity and Sustainability candidates. What is some specific sustainability initiatives that you are hoping to plan if elected? What specific aspects for sustainability are you hoping to promote and advocate for? So if you'd like to answer this question, feel free to turn on your camera and unmute. If not, you can stay muted and that's okay. Yeah, Maya, you can go first.
Thanks. I think some sustainability initiatives that we could apply on campus involve bringing the campus greener direction. And I say that in quotation marks because we don't want to do a greenwash. We actually want to do it like in the right way. So definitely the lobbying and the advocating for divestment on fossil fuels and other types of investments that are actually harmful in the long run. And this is something that we can lobby and ask the university to do so. Simple things, more trash cans, more resources for international students on how to recycle and what to recycle and where, because some things are hard when you are from a country that has no culture of recycling and things like that. Also, I would like to have a program where students could bring things that they need to recycle on the tech side. We already have one right now that is the program where you can bring your old tech and they are going to check if that needs to be recycled or if they can go to another student. But I would like to have one for example, batteries and things that are harder to recycle and harder to understand where to recycle, to have a place on campus that we can collect them and do that for students. So at least they know that one place for sure they can do that. There's just a little bit of some things that I think that there's a lot more that we can improve. Talking with the university, and I think some of that also are going to need to be in updating the CAPU policy on sustainability and even on suppliers, because for example the CSU right now has a policy on that, and we have like some of the suppliers we have for everything, they go like through a scanning process for us to know that they are like the most sustainable one that we could get for those things. So I think we need a policy for that at CAP as well, and we can push for that with a lot of advocacy, and that is something that can help in the long run. So it's not something that will happen during the time I will be here. It's something that we're going to ask to be turned into a policy so it can be used forever.
Perfect. Thanks, Maya. And I see that Shahab, you also have your camera on. Would you like to answer the question as well?
I have already started planning a few campaigns. I kind of want to try and have, how do I say this? It's a bit hard to explain, but
Sorry, Shahab. I think that your internet is lagging a little bit. Let's see. It seems like on my end, he is frozen. So while he is rebooting back up, I will ask Karina, because Karina, your hand is up as well.
Yeah, so as mentioned, I would like to campaign for fighting fast fashion with my club. It would increase student engagement. It would also help less fortunate students, possibly by, giving out some of the stuff, some of the projects that we work on for free. I would also like to engage Indigenous students and be able to possibly even start from a young age. We can turn Capilano into a campus that encourages younger students to come in and see how important education is and how important their culture is. Maybe have classes for learning their languages, all the various wonderful languages of that community. And as well as I would like to see the cafeteria or just the campus have more sustainable programs. Thank you.
That's great. Sorry about that, Shahab. Your internet cut out a little bit, so
that is
try again. Yep.
Right, yes, so I'll try and raise and have an event to raise awareness for forest fires. I'm still thinking about actually, and it's basically
sorry, Shahab. Oh, and it seems like he might have just left. Sorry about that, everybody. That is, I think, all the time we have today. Oh, now he's back.
very sorry, it keeps lagging out. Let me see if I can join my phone. Just join.
We don't have a lot of time left, so what I do recommend is typing your answer in the Q&A chat right there. Sorry, we are kind of running a little bit late, so I'm going to pass over the mic to John. Thank you, everybody who came out, and I appreciate all the time that you guys have given. And yeah, have a great afternoon.
Hi, everybody. John here from the CSU. I want to take a moment to thank everyone who was able to join us today, including attendees, candidates, and the Capilano Courier, Freya and Matt. I appreciate you folks moderating today. Next week, the voting starts. Check your Capilano U email addresses for your ballots. Voting will be the polling period will be open from 9 a.m. on Tuesday the 4th to 5 p.m. on Thursday the 6th, and we'll have results shortly, unofficial results shortly thereafter. Until then, you can follow CapilanoCourier.com and at Capilano Courier for updates. Thanks again, folks, and we'll see you at the polls.
Thank you.